Okay, here's how to build a strong personal brand on your social media in like 5 steps. All right, so step one is you have to determine what is sort of you as a person, like your brand mission and your values. Typically, I would say come up with a couple of ideas of like what we would call pillar content. So, like, what do you represent? Are you all about like lifestyle? Are you all about impact? Are you all about freedom? Are you just about money? Right? Like, be very clear. And also, I would make the case like, don't be fake about it. I know it's probably a little bit like financially better to be fake, like to just like kind of pretend you're somebody else and become a persona that people can get into. But I have found that a lot of people who do that can sometimes have some mental health problems later because they've cultivated this audience based on a fake person of who they are. But that's up to your discernment. If you can handle it, you're an actor or something, go off, right? But for my recommendation, I would say develop what your actual values are and what your actual mission is, whether it's to help a certain amount of people, whether you really care about work-life balance, whether you really care about money, whatever it is. Okay. The second thing is to be pretty consistent with those values and that mission, and make sure you share content that aligns with it. Right. So if you're all about, let's say, work-life balance, then make sure you're making content that is about work-life balance and be consistent with it. You can't talk about work-life balance one day and then the next day talk about how you're all about hustling the grind and how you're going to, be the most alpha person ever. Those things are kind of opposite. And if they're not, you need to communicate how they're not because that's just an example, like one example of how things can maybe not perfectly align. And then you confuse your audience and you kind of lose everybody. Okay. Third thing, which is pretty obvious, but it's sometimes challenging for people, is to make sure you're actually engaging with your audience by responding to comments, messages. Even people who like on your content, like who just hit like a thumbs up, just thanking people. Like, you don't have to overthink it. Thank them for engaging with your content and ask them, what resonated about it or what didn't. And if they're just like, I really liked your camera quality, well, then right? If they're like, oh no, I really liked what you said about XYZ thing, you may have an actual customer. Who knows? So that's what I would say is make sure you're actually engaging. Fourth is to collaborate with other people in your niche. Ideally, people who have followings, but don't like be a clout chaser. Collaborate with people who can actually offer value to your audience, right? And collaborate with smaller people than you and collaborate with bigger people than you. And that's kind of how you'll start laddering your way up in terms of amount of influence. And then the last thing is to actually look at your analytics and see what works. I know that's like boring, but it's true, right? Like, if you have content, you're going to have some things that really hit and connect with people and some things that don't. And ultimately, just testing and adjusting is going to be what's going to help you find out what works and what doesn't work. For me, I wouldn't say I'm like this big personal brand or anything, but like just the small personal brand has helped me attract clients, JV partners, and help me get more customers. Like right now, as a small solo person in my little corner of the internet, and I know you can do the same thing, and I've seen my clients do the same thing. So if you want to stand out on social media, or somebody who has been talking about using personal branding to grow their business or get more customers, maybe share this video with them. And if there's something I missed, let me know down below.